Okay, so today we're looking at the derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. So our learning intentions will be to gain the knowledge of how to differentiate inverse trigonometric functions. So we'll be successful if we can apply these differentiation rules. That if you want to differentiate inverse sine, it's going to give you a result of 1 over 1 minus x squared. Or if you've got x over a, it's going to be a squared minus x squared. Similarly, you have, if you want to differentiate inverse cos, you get negative 1 over 1 minus x squared. And the derivative of inverse tan, you get, or arctan, you get 1 over 1 plus x squared. Now, on our formula sheet on page number 3, we get these rules, and these rules are probably easier to understand and manipulate. So let's do some examples. All right, if I want to differentiate 3 sine of inverse or arc sine x, well, I'm just going to multiply that 3 with what the inverse of arc sine would be. And the inverse of arc sine is this. Yeah? Or alternatively, it's this 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. One minus x squared, which gives us 3 over 1 minus x squared. Okay. Now, if we want to differentiate inverse cos 3x, okay, I grab what's on the inside. So this, I'm going to let f of x equals 3x, right? So the square of that is going to be 9x squared. Yeah. But the derivative of f of x is going to be 3. Okay. So I'm going to use this rule. Okay. So that dy over dx is negative the derivative over the square root of 1 minus the function squared. Okay, so we get the derivative of negative 3 and the function squared becomes 9x squared. So the derivative of arc cos of 3x is negative 3 over square root of 1 minus 9x squared. Okay. Similarly, okay, let's do find the derivative of arc tan of x on 2. Okay, so if the function is x on 2, if we square that, that's going to give us x squared on 4. And the derivative of half of x is just a half. Okay. The derivative of tan, or arctan, is that. Okay. So plugging that in, we get a half on the top over 1 plus x squared on 4. Okay. Obviously, having these fractions is not great, so it's think of it a half divided by, now making this whole thing 1 unit would be 4 plus x squared on 4. which is the same as a half times 4 on 4 plus x squared. That goes into twice, so we get 2 over 4 plus x squared. Alright. We want to find the gradient when x equals a half if we've got f of x equals inverse sine x to the power 3. Well, this is just the chain rule, okay? So if I let u be arc sine and v be u to the power 3, well, the derivative of v would be 3u squared, and the derivative of u will be 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. It's the chain rule, so multiply uv with u dash with v dash, so dy over dx is 3 lots of u squared on the top, but u is inverse sine x all over 1 minus x squared. We want to find the gradient, so when x equals to a half, alright, we have 3. What I'll do is I'll do inverse sine of a half. We square that. 1 minus a half squared. Okay. Inverse sine of a half is pi, so opposite is 1, hypotenuse is 2, so that's pi on 6. We square that, and this is, that's 1 minus a quarter. So we get 30, so what we're going to get is we get 3 pi squared on 36 divided by the square root of 3/4. Okay, which is the same as so 3 pi squared over 18 root 3 times both sides by root 3 gives us 3 root 3 pi squared over 54, which also gives us root 3 pi squared over 18. Okay, and that's the gradient. Obviously, if we plug that half up here, we would get a decimal in our calculator, which is 0.9497031,263, which is the same number. Okay. All right. So same thing. We want to differentiate arc cos x. So let u be arc cos. V is e to the u. Differentiate v. Still gives us e to the u. Differentiate u. We get negative 1 over 1 minus x squared. It's a chain rule, so multiply them together. So e to the u goes on the top, but u is arc cos. And there's your answer. Alright. Same thing here. If we're going to let u be inverse sine, we're going to get v equal to log of u. V dash equals 1 on u. And u dash equals 1 over 1 minus x squared. Multiply them together, you get 1 over arc sine multiplied by 1 minus x squared. Okay, here's your answer. Good luck.